Okay, so good morning. Without further ado, let's start. So today we will talk about the managerial accounting basics. So it talks more on the concepts. So the at the end of this lesson, the students will be able to first explain the distinguishing features of managerial accounting, and second is to identify the three broad functions of management. So according to its definition, managerial accounting, it is a branch of accounting that provides economic and financial information specifically for managers and internal users of a business. So more of like if uh, let's say in financial accounting, that is prepared for the external users. So the investors, creditors, and regulators. So ila gitanaw diri ang financial health sa company. So now, managerial accounting, it focuses on the internal decision making. So more on the company's money, its operations, but this is meant only for internal use. So think of it like it is like a private playbook, no, for managers to plan, control, and improve the business. So it tells them what is working and what is not. So for its purpose, number one is to assist managers in planning, directing, controlling, and decision making. So this is like a guide, no, sa mga managers. So tabangan sila on planning on what the business should do, direct or how to use the resources effectively, and of course control, let's say, control the operations to stay on track and make decisions based on the real data and dili lang mga guesswork, like dili lang tagan-tagan ba. Second, it provides data that is relevant, timely, and detailed rather than just historical. So unlike financial reports, no, that they always show nga mga, no, nahitabo na ba? Like for example, financial projections year 1, year 2, year 3. Meanwhile, ang kaning managerial accounting, it gives information that is useful right now and specific enough for managers to act quickly kung unsay dapat buhaton. And third, it helps in evaluating cost, setting budgets, analyzing performance, and preparing for future strategies. So it shows the managers pila man di ay ang magastos, how much things cost, pila ang presyo, helps them plan the budget and check if the business is doing well. So, ang pinaka main goal gyud ani nila is unsay pinaka best nga action for the future. So, moreover, it is a tool to make smart choices and grow the business efficiently. So we have here the importance for students, of course. You will learn, no, the skills, and it is vital for your future success in business. So regardless of your career path. So whether naa ka sa mag-work mo puhon sa sales, marketing, finance, production, or management, you will really need to analyze information and make decision based on the numbers. So what is the key role of managerial accounting? So managerial accounting helps managers make informed, quantitative decisions instead of relying on guesswork. So, ang kanilang managerial accounting more of like, ano siya ba? Let's say, smart assistant for managers. So, from the raw numbers, no, na ila makita, they will turn it to a data that is useful to help them make decision based on facts. And dili lang jud tagna-tagna, guys. So, for example, instead of guessing how much to spend on the production or asa ta pwede mag-cut og cost, ang managerial accounting, they give the managers a clear insight on what will improve, no? How to save money and increase profits to help them plan strategies to better earn more. So, why does managerial accounting needed? Ganong kailangan man? So first, so a company cannot simply rely on sales figure to know if it is an earning profit. Nga naman. Okay, let's say makakita ta nga the sales tayo mo report ninyo no ang mga area managers. The sales figure for today is 1,500,000. So does it tell you nga mauna gyud nga siya ang atong pinaka-profit? The answer is no. Because, of course, we need to take it on account the cost nga nagasto nato in doing that operation. So, the managers, they need accurate cost information for each product. For example, at current designs, so this kayak manufacturer ni siya. So the managers must know the exact cost of producing usa ka kayak para ma-determine nila pila man jud ang ila kailangan is baligya no to generate profit. Then adapting market changes, so profitability is affected by economic decisions. So di ba kanang mamahal ang presyo makaingon jud ta because of inflation. And also it is because of consumer taste. So it means that a business, they need to adjust quickly no when the market or customer preference changes. So to stay profitable, the companies must adjust production levels and production offerings, and that is mainly internal, no? So for example, if a demand for a certain kayak design, di-decrease siya. So the production must also be reduced. Dili pirmi nga magdaghan or shift to other models. So understanding cost behavior. So the managers need to understand how changes in production volume impact cost and profits. So the managers need to know giunsa man di ay pag-change sa cost kung ang production pod magbag-o sad. So for example, producing more units may lower the cost per unit. So that's the economies of scale. Then while producing fewer units may increase per unit cost. So kung let's say mas daghan di ato i-produce, mas gamay ang cost per unit. But if mas gamay atong i-produce, mas dako ang per unit cost. So ang uban cost kasi they might go up or down depending on pila you produce. So the manager here need to understand this control expenses and maximize the profits. So this knowledge helps managers to decide the most efficient and profitable level of production. So why managerial accounting is needed? So without reliable cost and production information, so with all of that, ang managers, they will be making decisions blindly. Meaning, kay kung wala kayo makita ng mga facts, no? Di na to makita kung unsa jud dapat nato buhaton. So that is why the managerial accounting gives them the right tools and data to understand these cost and production levels. So these help the managers make smarter decisions and compete effectively in the market. So decision making in managerial accounting. So the managers often face alternative courses of action such as they need to accept or reject a customer order. Kung, di ba, kung mahurot na, need mo reject. Kaya na sa mga Jollibee, no? Nga moingon face out na ni ma'am. Di ba? Deciding whether to produce a component internally or outsource it. Outsource meaning, mangita baka tag, or mo hire baka tag another company kung kinsay mo himo pod og the same product sa imo. Whether to continue or discontinue a product line. So one of the most important and challenging decision is figuring out what price to charge for a product, di ba? So managerial accounting helps managers compare these options using the number, cost, and potential profits they can make to to make the best decision for the business. So planning the future. A budget kuno, what is the role of a budget? A budget, this is a detailed financial plan that outlines the company's expected revenues and expenses. So, kung kita lang nasa personal, no, ato man i-identify jud kung pila atong kwarta, pila atong expenses, pila musud sa ato nga money, no, for a specific period. So here, the companies, it is more of like a roadmap ni siya ang budget. And also, the companies prepare or use budgets to plan ahead, decide how to use the resources wisely, and set the goals performance. So for example, sa current designs, the budgets are used to plan pila man kakayat ang ila i-produce and pila ang material na needed and the labor required in order to meet the production goals. So the budget as a roadmap. So the budget serve as a roadmap for resources, production, and sales. They guide the managers in ensuring that all the resources like the money, labor, and materials are used efficiently. So karon the budgets also communicate plans across the departments so that everyone will work in a common goal. So performance of evaluation, no, once after na nato na put into action ang budget, the managers compare the actual results with what they had planned in the budget. So that is called variance analysis. So if actual costs are higher or revenues lower than expected, the managers has the responsibility to investigate the reason. So they need to look why this happened. So actually, this type of action, it helps them correct the problems, of course, and also improve future plans. Then, continuous improvement. So comparing budgeted versus actual performance. So when we compare that, we identify the areas nga need na to change or improvement. Then we take corrective actions, no, para makorek na. And we will reward efficient departments and i-correct ang inefficiencies. Kay kanang reward kasi guys, para nako it's a number one booster sa usa ka employee nga mas mo work better if they are doing the right thing, no? So budgeting is not just about numbers, it is about planning, controlling, and improving operations. So without the budget, the managers would lack direction. What sila'y basihan. And they will find it difficult to measure success. So now, we have really long-term investments and decisions. So sometimes ang mga kumpanya, kailangan sila mo decide whether unsa man di ay ang ila himuon nga big long-term investments that will affect the business for years. So it can include building a new plant, purchasing a new equipment. So these decisions affect the future direction, the cost and profitability of the company. So these decisions are very important because they influence the company's future and they will determine how profitable the business will be. So ang mga managerial accounting ani, it helps managers analyze these investment decisions. So the importance across careers. So yes, it is very, dili lang kay ang managerial accounting para lang sa mga managers, accountants. It is very useful in many areas like sales, marketing, management, production, and finance. It is also applicable to all types of industries. So whether healthcare, software, food, and more. So learning these skills will help you make better decision. You understand the cost and you plan also effectively, which can help you be success in any career. So comparing managerial and financial accounting, so ang ilang kapareha or similarity, so they both deal with economic events of a business. So more of like transactions, o say mga nahitabo. Then, both require these events to be measured and communicated to users. So both, they are quantified. More on numbers, guys. Then, managerial accounting, it is concerned with providing information for internal users or for the managers. So for example, ang cost, no, unit cost of manufacturing a product for a while. Okay. So example again for managerial accounting, you need to figure it out no sa cost of making one unit of a product. Then financial accounting, it is concerned with providing information for external uses, like users, like investors, creditors. Example, reporting the total goods, cost of goods manufactured and sold. So it actually, wait for a while, guys. It actually shows, no, the financial performance or position of a company. So example lagi natay, let's say i-report ang pila makaang total cost of goods sold, made and sold na. Then you have the management functions. So mo ni dapat inyo pinaka dapat mahibaw-an ani nga managerial accounting. So the manager's activities and responsibilities can be classified into three broad functions. That is planning, directing, and controlling. So we have here a illustration, no, of the difference between financial accounting and managerial accounting. So you can just read more of that. Let's go on with the planning under one of the three broad functions. So when we say planning, it requires managers to look ahead and establish objectives. So these goals help guide decisions and actions. So objectives may include maximizing short-term profits and market share. So this makes the business more competitive. Maintaining a commitment to environmental protection because it ensures the business activities class are sustainable. Then contributing to social programs or supporting. So we need also that. So for example, Hewlett Packard reduced its prices to gain a stronger foothold against Dell. It shows how planning helps achieve business goals. So a key objective of planning actually is to add value to the business, which can be measured by the trading price of stock and also by the potential selling price of the company. Another one is directing. So it involves coordinating activities and human resources for smooth operations. So it means that managers coordinate people and activities to make sure that the business runs smoothly. So it's about putting plan into action. No. So the key aspects of directing is number one, implementing planned objectives. So making sure that everyone is working towards a common goal. Dili lang kay, uh, I mean, no. So let's say, dapat gid makasabot tanan nga mauna ang common goal. Then providing incentives to motivate employees, we all know that it can encourage employees to perform their best. That's why mas maayo pod. So example, so in simple terms, directing is like being the coach of a team. So dapat ni mo organize ang players, you need to assign positions, and you need to inspire them unsa may atong goal di ay. So examples of coordination, no? Under manufacturers, or it's the purchasing, manufacturing, warehousing, and selling. For the service company, they need to focus on the scheduling, sales, service, acquisitions of equipment, and supplies. So also includes selecting executives, you need to appoint managers, and you need to you need to hire and train employees. So controlling, it is the process of keeping a company activities on track. So Managers use controlling to check if the plans are really working, no? And to take corrective action if needed. So here, the managers need to evaluate, are the planned goals of a company or business being met? So if not, unsa may kailangan nato buhaton? So why control is important? Accurate information, no? Nga naa and strong control systems. It prevents fraud and mismanagement. So here, not the example diri about the Enron, Luxent, and Xerox. It shows the need for accurate info and controls. So na mga information about those companies. You can just read that. Then how do managers achieve control? So in small businesses, managers rely on personal observation, no? Kay dali naman. Questions and direct evaluation. And this works because the business is small and everything is easier to monitor. How about the large businesses? So ang kaning personal observation, impractical ni siya because it would cause chaos. So example, the current designs, president needs records and reports daily observation. So managers, yes, that's it, I mean. So they need to understand really what's happening instead of just you watch, no? Observe ra ka, tanaw ra ka. So these systems includes features such as budgets. Again, dapat matanawan sa manager ang plano for the revenues and expenses. Responsibility centers, these are area or departments that the managers are accountable for. And performance evaluation reports, it shows how well different parts of the company are performing. So decision making is not a separate management function. Rather, it is the outcome of the exercise of good judgment because you are planning. You did plan, no? You direct and you control. So for example, here is a Louis Vuitton, no? So they have this strategy. So they adopted lean manufacturing processes. So it is inspired by car and electronic industries. So the key changes is that uh they work on flexible teams, like nag-organize sila by task time. They foster production, like more faster na. What took 20 to 30 workers 8 days, karon 6 to 12 workers na lang in one day. Then multi-skilled workers, they can switch products quickly to meet demand. How about the global sales data feedback? The store, I'm sorry, wait for a while, guys. The store sends sales info weekly and also need po sila mag-adjust if needed. Then quality improve, so their returns drop by 2/3. So the lesson here is that even successful companies, they must plan, no, direct and control operations effectively. Because if you foster continuing or continuous improvement, much higher efficiency and better quality and more profits. So managerial accounting, it provides the tools and information to support these decisions. So we have here the corporations organizations chart wherein naadya ma-assign ng pinakababaw, which is the stockholders, then the board of directors, and then the CEO and president. So now you will dahil lahi guys ang or kung saan nila pag-classify ang top level management, middle level management. So here ang ila is under sa CEO na ang general counsel, secretary, vice P for marketing, vice P for finance, chief financial officer, vice P for operations and human resources. Then usap pa sila mag another under sa vice P, CFO, the treasurer and the controller. So we have here the definitions of terms. The stockholders, unsa man na sila? Those are the owners of the corporation. So they do not manage the company directly. That's why na sila gi-assign nga board of directors to act on their behalf. Then the board of directors, they are the one who manage the company indirectly for the stakeholders. So responsibilities nila, they formulate the operating policies of the company and they select company officers to carry out this policy. Also, officers of the company, example, the president and vice president. So ang ilang role, they carry out board policies and they need to manage the day-to-day operations. So the line versus staff position. So line positions, they are employees directly involved sa mga primary operations of the company. For example, mga trabahante under the production, no? Mga plant managers, department managers, they are called line positions. How about the staff? So they provide support and expertise to line employees. For example, mga accountants, HR, legal advisors. So the key point there is the staff serves the line. Again, the staff positions serve the line positions. Then the chief financial officer. This is the key officer responsible for accounting and finance. So it is supported by three. So duha ra to nakabutang dito sa ilang let's say figure, no? Or illustration, which is the controller, treasurer, and internal audit staff. So, but mainly it is the controller and treasurer. Then we have here the controller. Unsa may controller? So this is one of the staff position. So they maintain accounting records and they ensure that internal controls are very effective. Sila ang prepare ang mga financial statements, tax returns, and internal reports. Actually, daghan ay tawag ana ron, dili na controller, no? Then treasurer, also a staff position. This is a custody of they have the custody of company's funds and they maintain the firm's cash position. So sila ang mag-overlook ana. Then the internal audit staff, they review reliability of information gikan sa controller and treasurer. So again, they also ensure that internal controls protect the assets and iya po i-check nga ga-follow ba, no? Ga-comply ba with the policies and regulations and they evaluate efficiency and economy of resource use. So the Vice President of Operations, sila pod ang gatan-aw sa lihok sa line employees or mainly sa mga naa sa primary operations. Example structure, ang mga plant manager, sila ang report sa Vice President of Operations. So each plant, naa sila or plant no, naa sila department managers. For example, nate fabricating, painting, shipping. So they will report to the plant manager and the plant manager will report to the Vice President of Operations. So business ethics is all about doing the right thing in business. So by definition, all employees are expected to act ethically, no, in their business activities. So meaning, mura maguro siya guide ba guys sa inyong behavior. So ethics, this is the principles of right and wrong that guides behavior. So its importance is that kung buhat, let's say, when you do the right thing in business, it protects the company and stockholders. And also it builds trust with the customer and employees and prevents scandals and legal issues. That's why you always need to act right, no? Then creating proper incentives, so companies like Amazon, Nike, they use system to monitor and evaluate managers. Kay high-tech naman karon. So for example, the problem is that these systems can unintentionally encourage unethical behavior. For example, the managers game budgets by underestimating performance. So unrealistic targets push managers to take shortcuts or unethical actions. So diretso-diretso ba ang nag-base naman sila sa monitor. So diretso na po sila o let's say make unrealistic targets. So mas maayo man gani nga you observe it personally, no, when you monitor and evaluate managers. So real world cases, example, in Boeing, after merging with another company, the employees felt pressured to hit performance target. Kasi syempre, bago good nun ay naging-merge. So this pressure led to scandals like overcharging. Yeah. They are spying non-competitors and they have already made unfair practices. And then another is the scaring flow. Workers were told to focus on making more products faster. Because of this, wala na nila gitanaw kung okay ba ang quality, no? And some medicines ended up with wrong dosages na. Kaya tungod nag-focus sila nga mas daghan sila i-produce. Then, which is very dangerous, 'di ba? Kaya kung wrong ang dosage. So the lesson here is that if companies only push for results without fair and ethical controls, employees may cut corners, no? Incentives should encourage both success and honesty. So magtabaw lang jud tagtarong, guys. Dili let's say magbuhat og lain ba. So the code of ethical standards, because of corporate scandals, SOX was created to prevent fraud and protect companies. So sa US siya siguro, I guess. So top managers like the CEOs and CFOs must promise that financial reports are accurate and fair and make sure that strong system exists to protect the company's asset and prevent fraud. Kaya delikado ang kwarta sa company. Then the board of directors must have an independent audit committee with at least one financial expert, of course. Penalties for misconduct are now much stricter. So the Institute of Management Accountants, they created a code of ethics, no? So there are three. You need to be honest. Don't cheat or cover up wrongdoings and don't allow others to act unethically. So they need to follow that. Okay, so that concludes our lesson. So please prepare for a quiz tomorrow, no? Before tayo proceed about sa manufacturing cost na ano yung mga computations and formulas. So again, thank you for listening and have a good day.